Hey guys, this is Cruise Roy with the Flywing FW450, the version 3. I have a 2.5 ESC in here, which I had to reverse two of the wires on the tail to make it spin the correct direction, and that's what happens with brushless motors. They're three-phase motors, so you can just change the two of the wires, just reverse them and you'll get the right direction. But I had to do that in this to run the 2.5. This is the 3.0, the version 3 Flywing ESC, which I kind of showed you guys. I opened it up and I really couldn't find anything that broke besides a Moffett being burnt out, or could be just one section that burnt out. And the Moffetts control the ESCs, and because this is a two-in-one unit, there's a lot of power in here and a lot of heat created. Hold on, get the warranty sticker off again. Let me just cut it. But I just wanted to show you a comparison, because what came in the mail today, no heat transfer tape on the front of this cover, and we'll pull the ESC out. There is some heat tape right here. Let me pull the camera a little bit so I have more room. This ESC, you'll notice there's some wires missing, like the telemetry and the tail motor. I removed it and used it in a project, but I'm just more concerned about the ESC part itself. So the V3 version has heat sinks on the bottom, which are stupid. That's me, I'm just talking in layman's. Heat rises, heat doesn't fall. Then it's got heat tape to send the heat to these, but I think it doesn't work that well. Just my opinion. Don't always follow my opinion, this is what I'm finding. And then the top, of course, is the top cover, CNC'd out. But let me move the heli for a second. Let's put the parts in accordance here. What I received today, this is the brand new, they call it the FW450 main ESC from Flywing. I already opened the package, of course, as you can tell. Now, I just wanted to compare the two. What I don't like right off the bat is here is the back. Now this will get adhered to the ESC plate. So what is the purpose of this? I don't know if it's the purpose of they just used the same bottom here or something, or they opened it up to release the heat. But when you put, ESC tape here to tape it to the controller or the ESC bed, you're going to block that. And what I did notice is right off the bat, I don't know if you can see it, but it's raised. It's not flush. So let me take the needle, my knife, and go this way. See how it hits? It hits this way, and it hits that way. So the chip is sticking out beyond the metal. So they made this cutout. I don't think they made this cutout so heat would transfer through here. And then, of course, the top, they did a nice job with this, and it says FW ESC, and it's version 4. And of course we're back to positive negative, and it says 3 to 6 cell ESC, and it has the BEC voltage of 7.4. Alright, so this time we have the fins on the top, which is a good idea. Heat will expose up this way. I have one of these fans that I might use, not sure yet. First, it's getting it installed in the bird. So I know no one would do this right off the bat, but it gives us all the wires. And someone said they had one, they plugged in their tail, and the tail went in reverse, and then it smoked the ESC. I'm not sure. I'm not going to blame Flywing for that. I mean, human error, someone replacing this. Someone said, oh, it's easy, just replace the wires. It's not as easy as just replacing the wires. These wires go right through the main shaft and around the belt and up towards the tail, and then you got to refasten this to the back of the tail. But we'll do that in video 2. This is video 1. Now, I want to compare this one. As we can already see, the differences. It has fins to let the heat escape, which is good on the top. The casing looks to me, I'm going to check that out right now. Let me take these two pieces. I'm going to put these two pieces together, and it is a smidge thicker. It's a smidge thicker, but still can't incorporate these chips on the back. Problem I see with this is moisture, but then because there'll be, ESC tape here, or flight controller tape, two-way, two-face tape, it's just going to block this. I don't like that it's sticking out like this, but that's me. Anybody make a comment if theirs is sticking out as well? What I want to do is compare it. Originally, this is the way this one sat, and if you look at it, the XT60 is facing in a different direction. Even if I flip it like that to the proper direction, they're on opposite sides. Coming out the back, it was more to the left-hand side. This was more in the center. So let's get to a little surgery here. And I will install it and I will fly it. And I will take all, if this thing smokes because I opened it up, I will take that on my own because I opened this up. Again, I don't think this is a real security tab. I mean, you can literally take the tape off. This is the same badge you see on the inside on the ESC. And I'm just going to leave it there for now. It'll peel off easier if I just distinctively take it off. So anyways, I'm going to open this up. And I take full liability on this if it does burn up after it's in my heli and I crash it. I won't be happy, but... So they did change the bolts. Instead of these little tiny screws, let's see if I can shine one there for you. Instead of these little tiny screws, where's my finger? Instead of these little tiny screws, you still can't see it. It's because it's so small. See the little screw? Instead of these screws, they're using cap heads. They're like a star cap screw. So they changed that. That's the first thing I see. Still an M60 connector, but they have to be, because that's what matches up to the front motor. This is going to be the front motor, and this one's on the tail. It's for the tail motor. Alright, let me see here. Let's take this apart, see what the first things we see. Okay. Alright, so first thing I see is heat tape. Let me move over. I'm trying to keep the other one in the window, but we got heat tape on the bottom going onto the Moffats. The thing I see different is Captain tape. Not Captain and Tennille, but Kapton tape. I use this on my 3D printers. This also helps with any shorts of electrical, so I'm wondering if they think their cover is tapping any one of these solder joints and creating fire. So let me pull it out All right, we got some more heat tape here, and we got heat tape to take up the slack in the XT60. So no, that's the capacitor, sorry. I'm looking at it upside down, sorry. So they put heat tape for the capacitor as well, but it has a lot of heat tape on the inside here. So let me put these here so I don't lose any parts. Move the wires out of the way. Now, I'm going to try to put this in the same direction as this one. Alright, there's that small badge. They put it on the inside, they put it on the outside of this one. It looks to me, as a visual, I don't have my lops on, but they have changed the Moffetts on the 60 amp side of the main motor. Now they look smaller, so Flywing needs to kind of tone in and tell us why they're smaller, but they're a different Moffett. As for the tail, they look of similar size, but I'd have to put them underneath a microscope to see the numbers. But the new one, the Moffetts, are smaller than they were on the old one. Does that mean they're weaker? I'm not sure. So that's what it looks like on the new one. And like I said, they changed the board. The board serial number is different now. I will get my magnifying glasses to see what that says, because this one didn't say the size properly, you know, as it's a 60 amp. It's not truly a 60 amp. So we're going to read the serial numbers off of this one in a minute. The capacitors, I need my other set of glasses, but it looks like the same capacitor. Solder joints are the same. They have a bar soldering everything together here, which is off of the, I'm assuming that's the positive side. Negative side, this one here just has 3 solder spots, which that's where I took the motor plug off. The motor plug on this one is actually on the other side. On this one it was on this side. So they did change out this whole board. Now let's flip it. You got more Captain tape. This heat resistor, I'm pretty sure that's what they are. They can tell me it isn't, but the 220 is a heat resistor. It's the same number, 220, 220. So I'm assuming those are the same. The Moffetts have changed on the back. They are smaller. I do have to say that. So even the Moffetts in the back that control other parts of this, like the tail and the motor, they are smaller. They look similar. Like, if I can get something to point at, this one look the same, but these, it seems to be an optical illusion, but I doubt it. These are smaller on the new board. And they have rearranged some things on here. And the other difference is, it's a stacked board. I don't want to take the Captain tape off. I don't want to go that far, but we have the motor wires soldered in between the board. So this is a double stacked PCB with all the components on it. So what happened here, Flywing? Can you give us a little data? You did this for a reason. You're cinching the XT60 in here probably to help it stabilize. Is that just for stabilizing, or did you change something in the board? I have to be honest, I've already seen 3 videos of the brand new one smoking. I don't blame Flywing. I kind of try to stay away from blaming the pilots, but we all do mistakes. But brand new, it's smoking. And what I see when I see the Moffetts are smaller, are they more powerful when they're smaller? I don't know. I'd have to dig deeper into that, and I have a lot of things to do. I mean, even the resistors, I mean, these are behind the Kapton tape, but these resistors look smaller than these. So is there more information inside of here? Is that why? But it is deceiving. I mean, these look the same size. These are the Moffetts for the 3-phase tail motor, and these are the Moffetts for the main motor. Alright, and you can see a lot of solder globs on here. I don't know why, where this one looks like it was more professionally done. Solder globs, no solder globs. You have this testing strip. We used to see these on drones. They were used for testing. They're just wires inside the PCB. This shows a drawing of the lines, but there's no wires. See how you can touch them? There's wires there. Not wires, but just bars of metal. There's nothing here. So what I want to do is get my glasses. I want to read the information off this. You can probably see it in the camera, but I can't particularly read it with my glasses I'm wearing right now. So there is some differences. The double stacked PCB, I don't want to peel this open unless it smokes, but I wonder why they did a double stacked PCB now. But before I put it back together, and like I said, this is video 1, we're just going to discuss everything. Let me check out that number, give me a second. Okay. So supposedly, put the serial number in the camera. This one says P-BLS40-20 amp 230 VX V1.3. So now instead of a 5020, we're looking at a 4020. Now that's just in the serial number, and most time companies use the serial number as what it is, so I'll give them the benefit of the doubt, but they're saying this is a 60 amp ESC, which I know the tail is not the tail cannot be the same with those little Moffetts, but the tail doesn't need to be 60. But this is a 2-in-1 ESC, and I'm trying to figure out why they double stacked this. There's another serial number on the back. On the back of the board, there's another couple of serial numbers or numbers. I think you got the ground. You got battery positive, ground. 7.4 volts, S1, S2, programming. The bottom number is C-AT at B88 2-in-1 230 VX version 1.1. So they're two separate boards, two separate serial numbers. The wires are kind of squished in between or sandwiched in between. They're sandwiched in between the board. But, alright, let me just put it back together. Like I said, I take full responsibility for taking this apart, and here's the old one. There is another one in the FW450 that I have. Now, you got a lot of heat out of this capacitor, and the wires are sitting right here. The wires I mean by reversing is if you have trouble, this is the main motor. If the main motor is going in the wrong direction, you notice how these two wires are together and this one's by itself. I just say to myself, just bother with these two. It's a lot easier. And what you would do is swap the two wires, but you have to unsolder them. But that's if you have that problem. You shouldn't. You should be able to just swap this out and not have issues. You know, like someone said, they just disconnect the wires and reconnect the wires, and bada boom, bada bing, you're up in the air flying. It's not that easy. I'm not going to say it's that easy. You can call me old or whatever, but... Alright, so let me put this back together. I want to make sure no wires are touching. The Kapton tape is a new touch on this. Yep, I heard it click, right? I don't like this sticking out. I really don't. But let's put it back together. And I mean, a few changes that they did pick up on. You remember I said the wires were coming out of the back and they were just in heat shrink, and then the heat shrink, you could slide it. You could slide it right up out of the way, and the wires are touching this very, you put your hand on that, that's pretty sharp, you know, an aluminum casing, no rubber. But this time here, they installed a new rubber square rectangular grommet, we'll call it, right? In the front though, even on this one, I mean, this is for the XT connector, but this little part here is where the main motor came out of. You know, same thing, we're right back to that, just etched right through the aluminum. Alright, so, you know, you got this thing, I don't know which way it goes, I think it goes down to the motor. It's pulling down on the metal. So this here might be okay, but I think the tail, once I get this in, the tail, I'm gonna have to reverse my wires because they're backwards. And I don't know if I should do it first or test it, because someone put one in and they just went to boot up the bird, sorry about that, and it smoked the tail motor. Don't know why. Me, I can do the test without the tail motor in, just leave the tail off. Alright, so everything's here. I went over what they look like. I'm going to call this video 1 on the ESC on the Flywing FW450 version 3, and the next video will be us taking apart the bird and putting the ESC in. Alright, this was Cruise Roy, and I'm out of here.